Hey guys, what's up? It's Darkmare here from Big Dumb Gaming and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to start off with the Season 2 Mythic Plus guides, and much like I did in Season 1, I tried to help newer tanks getting into Prideful, get their KSM and be comfortable with routing and pulls and things like that. Want to do the same thing in Season 2 to help people get their dungeon portals. So I see a lot of people starting to get their KSMs done now and starting to think about getting that prestigious portal that great job Blizzard, have attached to plus 20 dungeons. So, I mean, it's a start. We're getting there, let's hope for more stuff in the future. But we get a dungeon portal at plus 20, and I know a lot of people want them. So that's the idea behind these videos. So we're going to start off with Sanguine depths today. I'm going to do the same thing that I did in Season 1. I'm going to go through the route up to a boss and then cover it on the video and then go back to the route to the next boss and so on and so on. So, starting off in Sanguine depths. Disclaimer, any of these pulls you want to break up in half and things like that, go nuts. This route is based around having, rather large DPS and being quite confident in what you're doing. The video I'm showing you today is on a Guardian Druid, but I do the same pulls on Blood DK. I do have a Boom Chicken that pumps in the group though. If you don't have a Boom Chicken or a Busted Windwalker or something like that, you may need to rethink things if you don't have the DPS and the group utility to do it. All right, so opening pull. We're going to go with a triple pull here. If you don't want to do a triple, I would always suggest doing a double, a single, and then another double here. There's a lantern here that you're going to need a Venthia. Having a Venthia in Sanguine depth for the lantern buff is really important. So I would suggest if you're going for the portals, have yourself a Venthia in your group. Now the opening hallway, you're going to see Famished Ticks, Skirmishers, Huntsmen, and Regal Mistdancers. There are 2 Regal Mistdancers in this dungeon, one at the start and one at the end that we skip, so you only have to worry about this Mistdancer once. The Ticks have low HP and won't give you any trouble, they'll die. The Skirmishers do an animate weapon, it's a 1.7 second cast. You want to make sure you stun this. If it goes off, stun the weapons, in-cap roar will prevent them from being recast again. The weapons deal quite a bit of damage. The Huntsman will drop red traps on the ground. Watch out for them, they explode if you stand in them and will one-shot you on a high enough key level. The Regal Mistdancer, there's only 2 of these in Sanguine depths, one at the start and one at the end that we are going to skip, so you only need to worry about it once, but it is the most important mob due to an ability called Echoing Thrust. Now, Echoing Thrust is a frontal cone ability, it's a red line, it triggers on your location when it starts, and what you want to do as the tank is sidestep out of that, which makes sense. The thing about it though is you want to return to your original spot, and the reason being is each time Echoing Thrust goes off, it remembers the last position that it was in for every single cast. So your new one will be going off as well as every old one that has also subsequently gone off from that Echoing Thrust ability. So what you want to do as the tank is you want to face it into a wall and just keep basically stacking your Echoing Thrusts on top of each other. It goes off, sidestep out of it, it's gone off, move back into that position and try to layer the Echoing Thrusts on top of each other rather than fanning out and making 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 lines for your group that they have to dodge. But I'll show you that on the video anyway. Otherwise, so we're going to do that triple pull to the lantern. You've got the Brute and the Tick up the end here. The Gluttonous Tick has an Engorge, just kick it. The Brute does a slam for large physical damage and also does a Umbral Crash, which is a leaping ability that has splash damage. Just don't stand in that. Once we're done with that, we're going to pull the Tormentor and we're going to pull it out into the hallway here. Now, the Tormentor can either be the Incinerator or the Executioner Vareth. The Incinerator, you need a 2 melee kick timed rotation set up for the Inferno cast. It's a 2.1 second cast. Just kick it. Don't stand in the big fire circle that gets left. Your whole group can bait in and you can have a ranged player stand out at range, which will mean that you are baiting out all of the fire circles on the ground. Executioner Vareth, he does a Wave of Terror. You need to be within 6 yards of a party member to avoid being feared. He'll do a charging ability called Carnage. That has a 5-yard splash on it. What you need to do is whoever gets targeted with that needs to move out of the group. Now, when the ability triggers and goes off, you can either feign death it if you've got access to it, meld or vanish it to avoid the damage. He also has a Severing ability, which is a large 8-second dot, which chunks for damage. And lastly, he reduces all healing on your party, including you as the tank, by 50%, which is PogChamp for Blood DKs. Now, power-wise with this, guys, so you get tormented powers as you go through the dungeon. As the tank, you're going to take Crumbling Bulwark, Handbook of Uncivil Etiquette, the Stygian, King's Barbs, and the Stone Ward. They're the 4 powers that you're going to take. And I'm going to put a weak aura in the description as well that auto picks them for you once you've set them up. So you don't need to think about that each time you click on them. But they're the 4 powers that you're going to take. Now, as I mentioned, it can be Incinerator or Varathair, but you're always pulling them out into the hallway to do as well. Now, once we've done that, we're going to watch this patting brute that pats around. We're going to hug the wall and we're going to move outside here. We're going to do this pull of 5 ticks. Never double pull these. It's a bad idea unless you're, MGI Pog champs of the world. It's just a bad idea and you're saving CDs for the boss anyway. So we're going to do this pull of 5 ticks, interrupt the engorgers, they explode when they die, and then we're going to do the brute and the 7 ticks. And again, these 2 packs can hurt, so just be aware of that. Same stuff. Then we're on to the boss. First boss, Kyrax the Voracious here, can be a little bit hairy on tyrannical keys, and this boss basically all comes down to how your group manages Severing Smash. Now, Severing Smash occurs at 100 energy on the boss. He'll emit a massive wave that deals damage, knocks you back, and spawns an orb from you. The orb will then travel slowly towards the boss. If it hits the boss, heals the boss for 12%. If you intercept the boss, it deals shadow damage to the whole group. What you want to do is you want to have your group run far away for Severing Smash and drop their orbs well away from the boss. You as the tank are going to move away from the boss. Your orb you're going to collect straight away, and then the group is slowly going to stagger the balls out as they go towards the boss. Now, there are kite orbs. There's a kite orb strategy that involves having your group always ahead of the boss and making Juggernaut Rush go away from the orbs and things like that. However, you don't need that until like 23, 24, 25 area in Sanguine Depths, and even then you might still not need it. But I'm not going to cover it because it requires fairly heavy group coordination and you just don't need it for portals. So the other things this boss will do is a Juggernaut Rush. The damage from the rush is reduced by how many players it passes through. So basically when Juggernaut Rush goes off, stand in front of the boss so the boss hits you. If someone's got an immunity, they can run out and take it all by themselves like an ice block or a turtle. And the last thing you'll need to do as well is interrupt Hungering Drain as soon as that goes off. This hits pretty hard, so you don't want to let it go off. Just kick it as soon as it comes up. And the last thing to watch out for is the Vicious Headbutt. It's a knockback. Don't be facing off the edge and get punted off the edge. It hits pretty hard and it does knock you back, so just be aware of that. You can parry it though. So that is it. That's up to the first boss, guys. Let's watch the video here. And I apologize about the bitrate on the video too. I was having issues. It's off Twitch. It just looks a little bit shitty. The next videos will be better, I promise. So countdown coming here. We're going to do the triple pull, remember, and the big mob to watch out for as the tank when you are doing this is the Regal Mistdancer. Now, I've just got my bear on this video because it's the latest one that I did when I was getting portals done on my druid. I'm going to hopefully get portals done on all my tanks if I can, and that way I'll be able to give you some variety as I go through this. But we're doing this one on the druid anyway to start with. So Echoing Thrust coming out here, you can see the red line. I actually need to reposition this a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move into the wall here. Now all my Echoing Thrusts are going to be going into the wall. Now I'm not moving out of them because I'm a big dumb bear with Incarn, okay? And nothing can hurt you when you're a druid with Incarn. Can get a little bit hairy when you've got Treants as well, because Treants will taunt the Mistdancer, so just be aware of that. Salad actually got stepped into one of the traps and exploded from a trap, so it shows how much damage the traps will do. Just be aware of those. So we get that pack down, no problems whatsoever, because we have a balanced druid doing 7,000 DPS. Again, if you need to break that pull up, do the double, do a single, and then do the tick and the brute like we're doing now. You don't have to triple. Some groups do the whole hallway and things like that. Play around to whatever you're comfortable with and whatever your strengths are. Umbral Crash, so here's that leap with splash damage just moving out of that. So that's how easy that is. So you're not going to have any problems on this. And then we're going to pull the Tormented Mob out. So someone tags the Tormented Mob. They've got no social aggro at them, so you can pull them through mobs. So just be aware of that as well. Tag it, bring it out. Here's the Inferno, 2 melee kick rotation to make sure you get that. It's just the timing. You don't have to have 2 melee kicks. You can, use a beam. You can use a hunter. You can use a mage. Just a 2 melee kick timer rotation. So making sure we kick that. We've got everybody stacked in. Shim and the balanced dudes standing out to bait those fire patches on the Scorching Blast, so we don't have to worry about them. If you are all melee and you're all standing in, you will obviously have to move for the Scorching Blast, so just watch out and don't stand in the bad stuff. We're going to kill that, and then we're going to hug through the wall here. There's that padding brute, so just looking where that is. moving out here, we're going to pull this pack of 5 ticks. Remember, don't double pull. You're not a hero. You don't need to be. So we're going to do these 5 ticks here. We're going to kick the engorgers. Then we're going to move into the brute and the 7 ticks here. So again, kicking engorgers, watching out for the slam on the brute, watching out for the umbral crash and the splash. We're going to kill those, not going to have any problems. And then we're going to go on to the first boss. Now, remember, first boss is all about the severing smash, okay? So we actually screw this boss up. I'm not going to show you because it's highly embarrassing. I think we turned this boss into I want to say it's a nearly 7-minute fight. Basically, we got the boss down to 10% and we were doing the orb kiting strategy, but Shimon was the only one that really knew how to do it, and we were 4 idiots. And what happened is we healed the boss from 10% to 60% like absolute winners by letting all the orbs hit him. So it wasn't very cool. So Juggernaut Rush coming out here. We're all soaking that. Nice. So we split the damage there. We've got a Severing Smash coming in. Here's Hungering Drain, so we kick it. Severing Smash is about to come in. So what happens here? Vicious Headbutt's going to knock me backwards, so make sure you're aware of that. As I said, you're not facing off the edge. Severing Smash goes off. I move away. My orb spawns. I'm going to collect my orb as the tank straight away. The groups ran all the way up. You can see the back there. We're going to slowly stagger out the negation of collecting those orbs. You can see they deal a fair bit of damage once the orbs are collected. We've collected all the orbs now. It's a rinse repeat for the rest of the boss, guys. Just doing it like this every single time. Juggernaut Rush, soak, make sure for the Severing Smash, you move away, you collect your orb as the tank straight away, and then your group just staggers them. So that is it for the first boss. All right, we're going to go back to MDT now, and we're moving into the second, sort of going towards the second boss now. So this pull here is Guardian Druid Heaven. If you don't want to do this on another class, you can do a double here with these 2 in this room, and then the Sentinel and these Acolytes and Oppressor here, okay? So double. But we're going to pull it all, and we're going to fight it in this main room here. You're going to have Oppressors, Sprites, Acolytes, and Chamber Sentinel. So the Oppressors will cast a silence called Curse of Suppression, 2.5 second cast that silences for 5 seconds whoever it hits. They'll do a Rack Soul cast, which leaves a dot after its initial burst damage. The Sprites will throw shit at you. The Acolytes will cast Dark Bolts at you, so kick what you can. The Chamber Sentinel has a heavy tank cleave called Severing Slice. It only hits the tank now, though. You can outrange it, but now it's been nerfed and it's not that bad to just take it to the face. It'll also do a Craggy Fracture as well, which is just shit out of the ground. Don't stand in the bad stuff. So that's pretty much it for this one. So again, if you're not comfortable 2 and 2 it, otherwise we're going to pull it all. Then we're going to do the Tormented Mob. So the Tormented Mob here can either be Oros Cold Heart or Sogadon the Breaker. So with Oros, as soon as you pull him, your movement speed is reduced by 50%. Bad stuff goes on the ground, don't stand in it. Big frontal called Frost Lance, don't stand in it. And lastly, he'll target someone with Biting Cold, which pulses frost damage around them for 10 seconds. It's a big frost circle, just don't stand near them. And don't chase people with it either. Sog is pretty simple. When you engage him, he will pull you straight into him and crush you with decent damage. So just be aware of that as the tank. If you're ever trying to pull him out and pull him out into another room, as soon as you tag him, line of sight ASAP, otherwise you will get gripped into him. Social aggro is gone if you get gripped into him as well. If you get gripped in and pass through any of the mobs, you will pull them, so be aware of that. Otherwise, when you get gripped into him by the ability, I think it's called Chains. Let me just find a Sog weak. Crush, sorry. When you get gripped into him via Crush, you'll need to destroy the chains that go around you. He does a thing called Mega Smash or Smash or something like that. It's a big zone on the ground. Kill your chain, move out of the smash. That's pretty much it. As a druid, you can shapeshift out of that as well, so you don't have to worry about DPSing to break yours. Next pull here, we are going to do the 2 Oppressors and 1 Grand Overseer, and we're just going to kill them by themselves. The Grand Overseers are a new mob in here. They apply stacking, healing, and damage reduction to anyone nearby while they're alive, so that your prior target to get down. They cast Dread Bindings, which sends out chains to all party members, reduces your movement speed, and puts a heavy dot on you until the chain is broken. You break the chain by running away. As a DK, you can AMS that chain application, so hold on to it for that. Then we're going to pull the 2 Oppressors and 1 Grand Overseer here. And we're going to actually split this up. So we're going to pull these 3 to the LAN. Once they're nearly dead, we're going to activate the LAN. And then we're going to go back and grab this room here, which has got the 5 Acolytes and the 2 Oppressors in it. and we're going to kill them. The reason we stagger it is if you pull it all, there's a lot going on, and there's a real high chance on fort weeks to actually wipe to this pack if you don't have AoE stuns, if the bindings are going off, chains aren't breaking quick enough. You can line of sight them, but it's just got room to go messy. So pull these 3 to the lantern. Once they're nearly dead, activate the lantern, get the 3 buff, pull the room out, and finish them off that way. Once they're dead, we're gonna, with our lantern buff, we're gonna run across the bridge, watch this patterning sentinel, and we're gonna grab these 3 here. So the double oppressor overseer pack, and we're gonna grab the room here as well. Now the room's got the head custodian in it. He's got a bludgeoning bash, which deals quite a bit of damage and causes a knockback, and the sweeping slash, which sends out tornadoes. So just watch for that. Again, we've got the overseer with the dread bindings, which is the chains. As the tank, once you've pulled these, position yourself along the wall here, and your range can go down this end. Means once the chains come out, they'll auto break, so it's easier for your range there. Don't pull the tormented mob while you're doing this as well. Just be aware of that. So we're going to nuke this down. Playing around your cooldowns is really big too, guys. If you don't have cooldowns, don't do big double pulls and things like that, but you want to try and work these dungeons around your cooldowns. Big pulls, big CDs, and then little pulls while you're recharging your CDs as you go along, and then big pulls once they're available again. Then we're going to do the tormented mob. Now the tormented mob here is either executioner or the incinerator, so dealing with that the same way. And then we're going into the ring. Now the rings generally make or break territory for Sanguine depths. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come in and we're going to go to the right. So it's the left as you're looking at MDT, but when you're actually playing the game, we're coming in here and we're going to the right. Now the first pack here, you're going to have 2 scribes and a warden. The warden hits pretty hard. The scribes will throw books at you, and the warden will also do an ability called Barb Shackles. Make sure you kick that. We're going to lead them off towards the lantern up here, and then we're going to kind of chain it into this pack here. We're going to activate the lantern once they're nearly dead, chain these in, and then we're going to chain this other one in as well. Now, there is a padding mob that goes up and down here as well. Just watch out for them. If you get them, it's not the end of the world. It'll just cause your percent to be a little bit over. We're going to kill these on the lanterns. And then we're going to jet back around here, and we're going to start taking this pack here, which has got the quill feather, which casts this fiery cantrip. Just kick it. The scribes throwing books at you again, and then there's a remnant of fury. The doubts and the furies here as well, guys. The doubts will leave a pool of shit on the ground, and the furies will get explosive anger, which I'm pretty sure the longer they're left alive, the longer they pulse, or the harder they pulse damage, and it ramps sort of thing. So just kill them quickly. Watch out for the shit on the ground. We're going to sort of tail all of these packs, if we can, into the lantern. There's like a lantern here, and we want to keep extending our lantern buff as we go. The lantern, as you know, gives you damage as you kill things in the red circle. So that's the idea, is we're trying to extend that buff. So I'm not going to cover off all of these stuff. They're the mobs you've already seen and dealt with. And then we're going to go on to the second boss. So the second boss is Executor Tarvold. Make sure your group always has space to dodge the orbs here. Once you engage him, if you engage him from this wall, the orbs will go out, you won't get hit. And then what you want to do is just move back a little bit, because if you stand here, the orbs generally pass through each other on the first round, and then it's really hard to dodge. So if you move back a little bit, you'll have a little bit of space between the orbs. You'll have one going clockwise and one going anti-clockwise. The boss will spawn an ad. That is your absolute prio target. It does stupid AoE damage. You can use AMZ when this is going off to try and negate some of your damage if you've got a DK in the group. But kill the ad ASAP. When the ad is about to die, typhoon it away, ring a piece it away, anything you've got to move it away. Because what that'll do is when it dies, it'll drop a void zone on the ground. And if you've typhooned it away, you don't have to move as far as the group to get out of it. So that's pretty much it on this boss. Just nuke it and dodge the orbs and kill the ad ASAP. You won't have too many other issues. The boss deals a castigate cast. It's a big red circle that pulses damage on somebody. They're going to run out of the group. That's about it. So let's watch the video. Skip through the horrible boss that miraculously went from 10% to 60%. Okay, so we're moving into this large pool here again. So you can see I've got Incarn in 8 seconds here, because as I said again, guys, remember, you need to play around CDs here. If I didn't have any cooldowns, I probably wouldn't do this pull. I would break it up into a double and a double. I think that's really important. You know, a lot of the MDI routes and things like that you see people doing, those people have planned those routes out, practicing keys for 8 hours a day and knowing when CDs are going to be up for each pull and things like that. You kind of need to be able to adjust on the fly as you're going, but play around your CDs. It's really important. And as a tank as well, if your DPS say, I've got cooldowns, man, go big, and you've got nothing, don't go big, because if you've got nothing to either hold threat or survive, then you'll die, your group will wipe, and you haven't really achieved anything. So you can see we kill them really easy. There's no issues. Sentinel with the slice there. I'm not even, as a druid, I don't need to try and dodge it or blink out of the way or anything like that. It's not an issue. As a monk, you can roll out of the way really easy. Craggy Fracture going off, don't stand in the bad stuff, and that's pretty much it. So he's dead. Then we're moving out into the hallway, and we're going to get Oris Coldheart here. So you can see here again, there's that Frost Lance frontal that's going out. There's the Biting Cold, the big frost circle. Here comes Cold Snap, so just dodging that crap on the ground, not standing in it. That's pretty much it, guys. As I said, movement speed, once you engage him, is 50% slow, so don't engage him from too far away with some range giga brain move, because then you'll be 50% slow as the whole group is trying to move in to get close to him to make it easier to dodge. So killing him, we're going to get our Anima Power, and then we're going to move up into this 3 here. Now, remember, we're doing these 3 just by themselves. The Overseer is the main one. It's got that Dread Binding cast, which is the chain. So hold AMS for that if you're a DK, or mean that you don't have to run away to break your chain. They do the Gloom Burst and the Rack Souls. Kick whatever you can here, just get them down ASAP. Here comes the Dread Chain here, just in case you don't know what it is. Here it is here. You have to run away to break your chain. Once it's broken, the dot goes off you, and yeah, you can go on your merry life. But don't stand in there with your chain. It deals a fair bit of damage. You can see the healing and damage debuff that goes off from the Overseer staying alive as well. 18% damage reduction, 18% healing reduction while that's alive. That's why you want to kill them. So we're going to pull the Overseer and the 2 Oppressors here. And remember, we're going to get them low. And once they're low, we're going to trigger the Lantern, and then we're going to pull the room. So I'll just fast forward through here. So they're about, 30% now. And we're going to activate the Lantern here. And then I'm going to go and get so Trance are down. The Lantern's now up. So you can see here the Kill Adds, which is the Lantern debuff. And we're going to, this is a weak aura for the Lantern debuff. Sorry, I've gone into the room. I made sure I collect the whole room. Be aware, some of those mobs aren't chained. One will stay in there if you don't manage to hit the one at the back. So just make sure you get in there and tag them. I've moved them out here. We're into the Lantern now. I incarned here, which was dumb. Should have saved incarn for the next pull. So it's still all right because I've got Convoke for it. But if I'm doing this again, I'm saving incarn and not using it here. So we kill these, we get a 10 stack of the Lantern buff here, which is plus 50% extra damage, which is poggers. These 2 Oppressors are about to die, and then we're watching that Chamber Sentinel Pat. We're going to run across the bridge here, and we're going to grab the Overseer, the 2 Oppressors, and then the inside room. Now remember, the Custodian is in the inside room with the Bludgeoning Bash, the tornadoes that come out from the Sweeping Strike. And I'm going to move over to the wall in a second just to make sure that my group from the Overseer, when he casts his Dread Bindings, that people don't have to run far to break their chains because they're at the back wall there. So here comes the Bludgeoning Bash. You can see it takes about 10% of my health, so it is a fair knockback. I've got chains on me as well, which I'm not even going to worry about breaking because I'm just a Guardian Druid and I don't have to worry about anything. So we're going to kill the Overseer last, and then we're going to move inside. We're going to deal with the Tormentor here, which is Executioner Verith on this week. It can be Executioner Verith or what's the other one? Incinerator in here. So dealing with that the exact same way that we've already been over. So we're going to kill him. Then we're going to move into the ring now. The Warden, remember, we're kicking the Barb Shackle on the Warden. We have a Sentinel that's active here. So we're going to move this over to the Lantern here. What we're going to do is when this nearly dies, I think we're going to activate the Lantern, and then we're going to grab in the Scribe and the Quill Feather pack that is against the wall here, and then we're just waiting for the Pat to come down. So we're actually going to grab the Pat, I think, instead of the other 3 mob. Now, it doesn't matter which one you get. You don't want both of them though, okay? So if the Pat comes into a good position where it's going to Pat with you, by all means grab it. You can see it's actually coming back. So we grab the Pat and this pack here instead of this pack and the other set pack. We just would depend on wherever the Pat was at the time. So we've activated the Lantern, so we're just going to kill these. So this is the first 3 in the Sentinel. So we get our buff, and then we're going to pull the Pat and that other one there. So I've got Incarn for this as well, so I know I'm going to be safe. So incarning this and then bringing it back, and we're just going to get a nice 10 stack out of our Lantern by killing all this. I'm really sorry, that bit rate's so terrible. So we kill all that, and then we're just going to leg it all the way back to where we came. So remember, we come in, we go right to that lantern. We take the front pack, we kill if a sentinel's up, we kill that and the two of the packs there on the lantern, and then we wheel back the other way. Now we've got our 10 stack lantern buff. So we're going to use this for as long as we can. It's like we've got still 50 seconds on it now, and we've got another lantern up ahead. So huge damage increase here. So we're just killing this and dragging it along, because we want to try and make the most of this. Now, next we're going to go and get I think we grab the Sentinel and another pack here. Remember, you don't need to pull ridiculously massive in here as well. So, and the pat's sometimes really fucking awkward as well. So I'm just going to drag these 3 back here, and then I think we're going to try and get a few more, because it's just a real waste of time at the moment fighting basically 2 mobs. So Trance goes down to taunt the mobs. The Sentinel's active here. I'm going to grab the Sentinel and this pack, and I'm going to bring it all the way back to the lantern here. So bringing this back to the lantern, because we've still got the other lantern. So we've reactivated the lantern here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to keep our 50% damage buff rolling here. So killing all this, there's nothing new in here to cover, guys. We've killed all that, and now we're just going to sprint off to the boss with our 50% extra damage. So I'm going to pull it from the wall here, like I said, and what's going to happen is when the 2 orbs come out, I'm not going to get hit by them. So I'll pull it here, orbs go out, safe spot there, and now we're just going to murder it. Now this boss gets absolutely brutalized. Castigate going off, big red circle, go and stand away from people so you're not hitting them. I should have moved further back. Here comes the ad here, right? So the manifestation's up here. So before it dies, typhooning it away, it's going to die. Actually, I gave us enough room. We're going to dodge the ball outside, inside. It sometimes varies which way that is. So, don't always think it's outside, inside. Watch where the balls are and make sure you just move from the outside to the inside to dodge them, or the inside to the outside. Always killing that ad when it spawns. And that's pretty much it. That's this whole boss, guys. I should have mentioned too, when you're dropping down, you want to be 76.9% at least by the time you hit this boss. We're 78, so we're slightly over trash, but 76.9 is your marker here to go down. So that's it for that boss. No issues there. It melts. Let's go back and check out the rest of this. So we're dropping down after this, and we're going down into this final wing, or this final run of Sanguine Depths. So we're going to come down here. We're going to pull these. So we've got a doubt, leaves the shit on the ground, and then we've got 2 oppressors here. This padding oppressor will go back and forth. We're going to pull it in with Sogadon, these 3 mobs. You can do this however you like. You can do the 2 mobs by themselves. You can do the oppressor and the tormented by itself. You can do 3 oppressors if you like. You can take 2 oppressors into the boss, pending on the affixes, pending on your cooldowns and what you want to do and what you're comfortable with. Go nuts, make it your own. Sogadon the break here, so we've already covered Sogadon and how that works. Then we're going to do Grand Proctor here. Now, this boss hits like a Mack truck. It's the biggest thing to know for tanks. Iron Spikes hits really fucking hard, and you want to have active mitigation rolling for it. As a DK, you can use Rune Tap here. You want to bank Runic Power for 2 Death Strikes as well for when this Iron Spikes is going off, so you've got the ability to recover from it. As everything else, make sure you've got active mitigation and a safety CD going for it. The next thing the boss is going to cast is Rite of Supremacy. It's more of an issue for your group. As a tank, collect 1 or 2 orbs. That's all you need. Your group is going to be wanting at least 2 or 3 orbs, the higher the key goes. And the last ability this boss will cast is Endless Torment. It's big, swirly circles that are on the ground. Just don't stand in them. I think I actually stand in one and die. Then we're going to grab the shield, which is up here, and we're going to line of sight this pack. We're just going to tag it and move outside. Now I'm just going to cover this whole thing and then go over the video. You can activate the shield straight away here when you pull it. The shield is a really nice 60% damage reduction zone that you get. So it's an extra action button you'll get once you pick it up, and you can activate it once you pull these mobs out. You've got in here 2 Gargons, 2 Huntmasters, and 2 Oppressors. So pull them out, use the shield, melt them, don't stand in the Huntmaster's traps. Next here, we're going to invis skip this Overseer, Sentinel, and Mistdancer pack because they just take too long and they're a bit dangerous. So we're just going to invis skip them, camo skip, Shroud, Druid's Prowl, whatever you've got, just skip them. Don't go past this point here, otherwise you'll trigger the start of the gauntlet as well. Move around here. If anyone needs to die, they can go die and you can mass res. So then we're going to run the gauntlet here. So what we're going to do is we're going to double pull this. Generally we have cooldowns by this, so we'll double pull this. The big thing to be aware of with these, the Dark Acolytes are still going to be casting a bunch of bolts and things like that. Carl's going to be in this pack now. General Carl, she's going to cast Gloom Squall. And basically that's when you need to make sure that you are triggering off the shield. Now, when you open up this double pull, if you shield straight away, it will be back up by the time Carl goes to Gloom Squall. However, if you just want to play it safe and not get caught out, just hold on to the shield until Gloom Squall gets cast from Carl. And every 10% you knock Carl down is when she'll advance up the gauntlet. So we double pull here. We then do a single pull. Then there is a lantern. I think the lantern might just be up here along the wall. It might even be at this one here, or it's this one here or this one here. But we double pull, we do this one, we then kill this pack here. Actually, it's in here. We kill this pack and lantern, and then we drag this pack back into it. If you were super adventurous, you could drag this last pack of the gauntlet back into it. However, fairly risky. This pack does do quite a bit of damage. So double, single, double with the lantern. We finish up this last pack here. 2 skirmishes, so the animate weapons going off again and a lot of damage. Watching out for the chamber sentinel. We then line of sight this pat outside, either fight it in the hallway or do it in this room here. Don't get stuck in the doorway. The skirmishers here can actually drop traps. Sorry, the huntmasters here can drop their volatile traps in the doorway, can make it really awkward for melee and they can get blown up quite easily. And then we're on to General Carl. So Carl, the final boss in here, she hits incredibly hard as well, which is why you don't skip Sogadon or anything in this, because the bleeds from Carl absolutely own. Carl will mark players with Wicked Rush and charge to each of them, dealing damage to anyone within 5 yards of them as well. So make sure when you're marked with that, players are splitting out. She'll do an ability called Piercing Blur. It's 3 images that go up when she does this. You just need to pick the safe one after it's gone off and go and stand in there pretty much. It's telegraphed, wait for it to go off, move into the one that's gone off, and then you don't have to move again. And then the last ability is Gloom's Claw, which we have seen through the gauntlet. Carl will sort of flash to the side of the platform, start casting Gloom Squall. Make sure you get over it as the tank activate the shield. Everyone stands in it. You don't get knocked off, and happy days. So back to the video, dropping down here, and we're going to come down now. As I said, you can play this room a number of different ways, but what we're going to do is we're going to grab the 2 oppressors and the doubt here, and we're going to have a little bit of a discussion about it, and then we're going to pull Sogadon into it as well. Now remember, the doubt drops the pool of crap on the ground when it dies. The oppressors are going to do that bolt that we just want to kick whenever we can. And Sogadon's just going to grip you in. It's going to do this seismic wave. It's going to do the bindings, which grip you in. Massive smash going off, damaging all the chains. Remember, you can shapeshift out of that if you need. There's no issues in breaking the chains, but it's just something nice to have up your sleeve. There's the crush going off, and it's pretty much rinse repeat. So it's not dangerous, overly dangerous, pulling anything into Sogadon. So we're going to finish Sogadon up. We're going to get our power, and then we're going to go and do the other 2 oppressors on the other side. Now again, pending affixes, pending cooldowns, if it's fort, if it's Tyrant, you could elect to pull these 2 oppressors into the boss. It all just depends on what kind of kicks you've got, what kind of CDs you've got, and things like that. But there's the Rack Soul, so just making sure you kick what you can there. They're going to drop, no worries, and then we're going to go into the 3rd boss. Now, Grand Proctor, as I mentioned, hits like an absolute truck. The big thing here is Iron Spike ability. So Iron Spike's coming out here. I've got 2 stacks of Iron Fur up and Barkskin, and you can see it chunks around 35 to 40% of my health. Rider Supremacy coming out. We're going to grab, as the tank, you can grab 1 or 2 orbs, is fine. Your group's going to be wanting to get 3+. This hits for a fair chunk, about 50% of players' HP. They're going to do this Endless Torment. Now, Endless Torment is the yellow swirls on the ground. Just make sure you're not getting hit by the yellow swirls on the ground. That is this whole boss fight. It is a complete rinse repeat from here. Iron Spikes again, so make sure you're rolling your active mitigation. You've got CD if you're a Death Strike, banking Runic Power to have 2 Death Strikes to be able to survive through those 4 Iron Spike hits. And that is pretty much it, guys. Complete rinse repeat. It does hit hard on Tyran, and the Rite of Supremacy deals a lot of damage, so people have to be really spot on with using DR, making sure they get those orbs to survive. But otherwise, pretty simple. You shouldn't have too many issues. So we're going to skip through that one, and once she is dead, we're going to run up the top here, and we're going to grab the shield. Now, the shield's up the top. You'll get an extra action button with this. It is a 60% DR ability with this shield. So I'm going to pull the pack inside here, and I'm just going to line of sight them out. Once they're all out, I'm going to pop the shield down straight away, 60% DR. The big things to watch out for here, the Huntsmasters with their volatile traps, because they can absolutely own. The Gargans, they're not really a big problem. And then the Oppressor just kicking what you can there. So again, we get through this fairly safely. Just watch that you don't stand in the traps is the biggest thing. Use your shield straight away. It'll be straight back up when you go back into the gauntlet and you won't have any issues. Then we're going to skip this next pack. So Shroud, Invis, Camo, Druids can prowl through without any issues. If you don't have access to any of this stuff and you need to die, you can see where I'm going here. Just go out the corner and run to this bit here. Don't go past. If you go onto that, if you cross that lip on the bridge, you'll actually trigger the gauntlet event, which will mean that the Gargans will start coming. You won't be able to res. So we're going to stay in here. We get a mass res off for whoever needs it. And then we're going to go and start the gauntlet. Now, remember with the gauntlet, we're going double pull, single pull when they're nearly dead, lantern, chain the other one in, and then we've got the 3 up the end, the last room, and so on. So we're just getting food here for those that died. Then we're going to go off. So here's the double pull here. So pulling these back in, you've got a nice little line of sight if you need to. The Gargans will continue to come in. You can see we've got Carl in this pack now. So she's on 98%. A lot of pixelation. Again, apologize for that. We better going forwards. I fixed it, I promise. So Dread Volley's going to go off. You can't really do anything about that, so don't worry about it. Just continue to cleave the Gargans as they come in. This is really annoying, the gauntlet on Necrotic weeks and on Sanguine weeks. It's really, really horrible. But Carl, every 10%, she'll move on. So once we get her to 90%, she'll move to the next pack. So Gloom Squall here, shield's gone down, so we're all safe standing in it. No one dies, no one gets knocked back. 90%, Carl's going to move off, and we are going to chug up. As I said, the Gargans will just keep coming, guys, so you just need to keep moving. Now, we double pulled here, so Carl moving up to the next pack with the Sprites and the Cadets in it here. They do absolutely nothing, so I'm just going to move them forward with Carl here. So Carl, you want to get to 80% as quick as you can, so Carl will move up. We're just going to start to get these low. Shim's going to come over here and start activating the gauntlet. The lantern, cheeky little volcanic there just to delay that slightly. So now the lantern's up, so we're going to drop these adds in the lantern. So we've got a 2 stack now, 3 stack. We're going to end up with a 5 stack here from the Gargans. I'm going to turn around in a second and I'm going to grab the other pack now. It is worth noting you've got over a minute every time the lantern's up, okay? So we've still got on the buff, but we've still got time on the lantern. So Gloom Squall going off. We're going to get the shield down first and play this really safe. And then we're going to turn around and get the pack of Acolytes behind us. Now, you can just pull one line of sight. They'll all come around. We're going to be able to kill these in the lantern up time that we've still got available. So you can see that kill adds here. This is how much time we have. It's just Rello's Shadowlands Dungeon Weak Aura pack, which is really useful. And it also gives you a stack of how much damage increase you've got out of this. So we're going to get a 10 stack out of this. And it means that we can go up and roll this last 3. Nice and easy. So they're the last 2 Gargans that'll spawn once we pull this, because the gauntlet is basically at an end now. And we're going to get Carl down to 70%. Carl's going to go off, and this is the last gauntlet pack, and then we've still got the Sentinel and the 2 skirmishers up the end. But once we get Carl to 70, the Gargans will stop spawning. So if you need to drink or anything like that, then you've got the ability to do that. So nice 50% extra damage allows us to merc through Carl fairly quickly. 70%. We'll have one more Gloom Squall, and then we'll be on to the last 3. So this is all pretty basic stuff that you'll no doubt be aware of. There's the last Gloom Squall, 70% coming. So now we're going to fall out of combat once we kill these Gargans, but we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to keep charging because we've still got a little bit of this 50% damage buff left on us. So down 10 stack, which is nice. So we're going to try and get these down as quick as we can. Here's the animate weapons coming out. These animate weapons actually really do a chunk of damage. So I'm going to in-cap raw, which means that no more animated weapons are going to spawn. So it's a nice little trick that you can use on that. Stone's getting off on the Sentinel there, just making sure you get the kicks on this. And we just want to kill these as quick as we can. As I said, you could chain these into your last packs on the lantern. However, there's a lot of damage going out, so it's just better to play safe through this, especially because we invis the 3 before the gauntlet as well. If you muck up, you're going back to the 3rd boss's room. So we finish off this skirmisher here, then we're going to pull the last room. I make a mistake here, okay? I was going to fight them out here, and then I was like, oh, no, we'll just go and fight them in this room. What happens is one of the Huntsmasters puts a trap right outside of the room, which basically screws melee if they were trying to get in. Fighting them in the doorway is definitely not the play, okay? Fight them in the hall or fight them in the room, but pick one. It's not you got a gym, you got a door kind of business. So killing those, no issues whatsoever. And then the last boss, General Carl. So Carl, as I said, hits noticeably hard. She'll mark players with the Wicked Rush, which are the red arrows above their head. That deals splash damage to anyone within 5 yards, so make sure red arrows go and spread out. You can see it going off here at the moment. The 3 boss ability that comes up is called Piercing Blur, so that's about to come out now. So you can see 3 lines are going to go across the platform. The middle one's going off first. Move out of it, it goes off, move back into it, no need to move. Don't get overwhelmed by that, thinking that you have to do a lot of running or anything like that. Find one that's going to go off first, stay out of it. As soon as it's gone off, move in. That's your safe spot. You're all good. Gloom Squall, Carl's going to blink to the side of the platform, cast Gloom Squall, get over there as the tank, pop your extra action button with the shield. That's pretty much it. Piercing Blurs are going to come out after that. Red arrows spreading apart. Then it's going to go to the Piercing Blur again. Oh, sorry, the Wicked Rush is going to come after the Gloom Squall, then Piercing Blur, and it's just a rinse repeat for this entire fight. So this one comes down, fair bit of healer responsibility. The bleeds really do hurt from Carl, which is why you don't skip Sogadon in this one. Often in a lot of the dungeons, you'll see people skipping Sogadon. You'll also see Cold Heart getting skipped a lot. Reason B is it's not as impactful on a lot of the boss fights. However, in Sanguine Depths, it's fairly spicy to skip anything, and I just think it's easier to kill the Tormentors as you progress through this, especially with how hard Carl hits. She's a bit of a bitch. So that is pretty much it, guys. The whole fight is a rinse repeat from that. It's about positioning, just making sure you keep it together in this last bit, and that is pretty much it. We don't have any problems. I think we end up finishing at about 2 minutes 40 or something like that left. So it wasn't a bad run, even with the big stuff up on the first boss. But I'm going to leave the weak aura for picking the tormented powers automatically in the comment below. I'll leave Rello's Shadowlands dungeon weak auras in there as well. And I'll also pop this MDT route in there as well. Now, as I said and as I mentioned, split it up. You know, it's a lot easier to do some of this stuff with different group compositions, especially as a Guardian Druid as well, with Incarn being so strong, with the Legendary for Thrash as well. But any questions at all, hit me up in the comments, guys. I will be more than happy to help. I'm going to try and get these videos done as quick as I can. They're obviously fairly time consuming, but I will try and get them out as quick as I can. And if I can get a few more portal tanks rolling, I'll try and give you some different tank perspectives and different tank tips and things like that as we go through them. But otherwise, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you very much for checking out the video. I'll see you all next time. See you, fam.